New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. And hello again, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you here on a Friday night. It's 5 o'clock on the Mountain Time Zone, and that means it is time for the good news. Our weekly look at some of the good news stories that have found their way across my desk this week that I find inspiring. I believe you will as well. Thank you for being here. As we get started tonight, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, share button, whatever buttons you want to hit, as long as they don't have a thumbs down. Make sure they got a thumbs up when you hit them. And let your friends know what we're doing here on the New Thought Media Network. All right, it is graduation week, commencement week. Woohoo! I had a high school senior graduate myself this week. We're going to take that out of there for a minute. We'll get to that in a second. I have got a high school senior graduating in my household this week. So I tell you, it's been all kinds of fun and interesting things. And the beauty of commencement season, let's call it, is that we get to hear some amazing commencement speeches. And our first story tonight is just that, coming out of Rollins College. I want to introduce you to Elizabeth Bonker. Now, Elizabeth is a non-speaking autistic person. She communicates solely by typing, and she was one of the 4 valedictorians at Rollins College this year. Her other valedictorian fellow graduates unanimously voted for her to give the speech. So it's through a voice text system, and you can. There's a great video. We'll leave a link in the show notes so you can check this out. A great video of her speech. And it's interesting. In her talk, she writes, "God gave you a voice, use it. And know the irony of a non-speaking autistic encouraging you to use your voice is not lost on me, because if you can see the worth in me, then you can see the worth in everyone you meet." I love this. This is what it's all about, folks, is being able to see the worth, the value in whoever it is we're working with, whatever the reason may be, regardless of the experiences and regardless of the appearances. Congratulations, Elizabeth. You get our big kudos of the week, and not only from graduating Rollins College, and being the valedictorian, but she's also started a nonprofit organization called Communication for All, that's working towards ensuring that non-speaking autistics have access to communication and education essential to living meaningful lives. Again, congratulations. And check out the video. I watched the speech. It's a great 6-minute speech. So again, we'll leave the link there in the show notes for you. And you know, folks, we get many of our stories here on the Good News Network, on New Thought Media Network, from a couple of sources. Number one is sunnyskies.com. Sunnyskies.com has a number, and you'll always find some great stories. That's where we found this one. Now, our next story comes to us from the Good News Network, which viewers of this program know we use a lot as well. Here's a story coming out of Texas. Students at a Texas college in their graduation announcements it was let known by the president and CEO that an anonymous donor had paid off all of their school debt, the entire class. More than 100 students in this graduating class, and an anonymous donor took care of any and all outstanding debts that these students had. The CEO and president, Dr. Herman J. Felton, said, "Our commitment to our students goes beyond their time while they are enrolled. We're grateful for this anonymous donation who will assist the students in paying off their balances." The estimated total, about $300,000 that this anonymous donor took care of. You can see the joy and the happiness in many of these women's faces. And you may notice that this college, and I'm sorry, I've just lost the name of the college, where there it is, Wiley College. Wiley College is an SBCU, historically black college and university. So congratulations there. Now, I don't know if this was planned or not, but our next story is pretty much a repeat with some different players. This time it's the Otis College of Art and Design in Los Angeles. And this time we know who the donor is. It's the CEO of Snapchat, Evan Spiegel, and his wife, Miranda Kerr. They've agreed to pay off the college debt for all 2022 graduates. There's about 285 people in this graduating class. They also were surprised during the announcement. Now, in the story, there's a little Twitter blurb about it. I don't see a Snapchat blurb about it, but that's because, well, you know, after you snap, you chat, and then it's gone. Or at least I'm not that hip, so I don't know for sure, but I think that's how it works. Congratulations to the students at Otis College of Art and Design for what they're doing there, and for being a part of this. Is good news. This is the abundance. This is prosperity. This is how we share with each other. Now, if you're following along, yeah, we've got a college theme going on here today. And many people say, well, you know, what's the sense of going to college these days? You're just learning how to be taught something, and the organizations, the company you hire, you'll do that. Well, here's one of the reasons you go to college: to invent edible tortilla tape. Yes. Students at Baltimore's Johns Hopkins University have created what they call tasty tape. It's an edible adhesive. It's comprised of food-grade fibrous scaffold and an organic adhesive. Now, they're not letting anybody know what's in the tape because they're applying for a patent. It's got multiple ingredients, and they went through multiple versions of this tape. The idea is that, well, when you roll your breakfast burrito, you can put a piece of tape on it. Don't have to worry about it getting all messy. Or if you're wrapping up a burrito to take to school in the afternoon, you don't have to worry about it getting all messy in your bag. No word here as to whether this is made available, if it's made available retail at this point, but I'm sure they're working on it. There is another picture in the story. They've got a little piece of paper where they have a whole bunch of these adhesive tapes on there, and then you just peel them off, put them on your burrito. I imagine you could do this with many other things as well. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, from Johns Hopkins for creating this tasty tape, a way to keep your burrito from getting too messy. I love it. The innovation, the creativity, that's what it's all about, folks, is finding new ways to do what needs to be done. You got to hold your burrito together. Nobody likes it when you lose your burrito. All right, we're going to take a quick break here, say thank you to, and let you know a little bit more of some of the things that are happening here on the New Thought Media Network and ways you can be involved with what we do. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more great stories coming up in just a minute. Stay tuned. We'll be right back here on New Thought today and the good news on Friday evenings. Hold on. we're back with more of the good news here on New Thought Media Network, Friday evening, a collection of good news stories to get you through the weekend. And we do want to say, hey, if you know of a good news story, if you see something you think we should cover on this program, or perhaps you'd like to be a guest on this program and share a good news story with us, by all means, please do reach out. We've got an email address, goodnews@ntmedia.org. Hit that button. Let us know what stories you see that we should be covering. Or again, if you'd like to be a guest host and join us and share the good news yourself, we'd be happy to talk with you about that. All right, back into our stories. This one, now, again, viewers of this program know that we really like to feature a lot of different tech stories and follow some of the emerging technology stories. This one really caught my eye. A company in Hawaii has created a unique system that takes advantage of existing infrastructure to pull carbon out of the ocean. Now, the advantage of this is simple. The ocean holds more carbon in less space than the air. And so we need to, excuse me, I got that backwards. The advantage of taking carbon out of the ocean is it holds more carbon and in less space than in the air. There's already the machinery to do this in many places, and they're called desalination plants. So if you're not familiar with desalination, these happen in islands in other countries that have limited amount of fresh water, but use the ocean water to pull the saline and the salt out of that, and then we've got clean water. Well, in this case, the Hawaii company Hemdale is using Hawaii's plants to do just this. What they're doing is the seawater is pumped into what's called the Hemdale V1, their machinery. They use electrolysis to separate the hydrogen and the oxygen from the carbon-based acids that are warming the ocean. This purified seawater is returned to the ocean without the carbon, and the separated acids or carbon are sold as hydrochloric acid, which is used in a lot of manufacturing and laboratory services and ideas. The CEO, Eric Millar, said when the excess acidity is removed from the ocean, it shifts from CO2. It shifts how CO2 exists back to how it was pre-industrial revolution. This moves it away from being carbonic acid, which causes ocean acidification, and towards bicarbonate and carbonate. These are stable forms of mineralized carbon dioxide that make their way down to the ocean floor, where they are stored for more than 100,000 years. More science here than I'm usually used to, but it's a great story, and you can catch even more of the details over on the goodnews.org. Please do be sure to go over and give those folks the love and the attention they deserve. They do a great job of curating amazing stories on a daily basis during the midweek, Monday through Friday. Here's another story we found over there. How about if you had a computer that could be powered by algae? Well, researchers are doing just that. They've harnessed a widespread species of blue-green algae. It powers a microprocessor and has been doing so for more than a year now, and it hasn't stopped, and it's not about to. They use nothing but ambient light and water. Now, the device you're looking at there is comparable in size to AA batteries. The system contains a type of non-toxic algae that naturally harvests energy from the sun through photosynthesis. That makes sense. It's a plant. It makes energy through photosynthesis. And it creates a very tiny electrical current that then interacts with an aluminum electrode and is used to power a microprocessor. The researchers working on this have said, quote, the growing Internet of Things need an increasing amount of energy, and we think this will have to come from systems that can generate energy rather than simply store it like batteries do. That's Professor Christopher Howe at the University of Cambridge's Department of Biochemistry. He was a joint senior author on the paper. Our photosynthetic device doesn't run down the way a battery does, he said, because it's continually using light as the energy source. Folks, think about it. How would it be if your refrigerator was running on a couple of algae batteries, or your alarm clock, or your thermostat, or what about even our computers? new energy, renewable energy. Here's energy from seemingly nothing other than algae and light. Wow, this could be a game changer. We're going to keep an eye on this story and make sure we come back to it in the future as more updates are available. Another great energy story that really kind of got me. If you're a camper or you like going out in the wilderness, you know that in today's age, you either got to carry a battery, or if you're like me and you got kids and you're out camping, you need a big battery and maybe even a solar panel to produce enough energy. Well, what if you could do that with a wind turbine? These are, it's a Kickstarter and Indiegogo program. So these guys were both on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. What you're looking at is a small wind turbine, and it weighs less than 3 pounds. They are in their latest round of, they've already raised over $355,000 delivering these. The price is around $350 each. It fits in your backpack. You put it in the ground. There's a great picture of somebody on the mountains. Stick it into the ground, tie it down with some guide wires, and it can create up to 40 watts of energy when the wind is blowing. And you don't have to worry about which way the wind is blowing because it's on a tripod. It'll move. It turns, and you can and you'll be able to pick up energy wherever you're going. Estimated shipping date for this is later this year in October. I imagine as you see one, we'll find more, and there'll be more and more of these coming onto the market in the coming years. So keep an eye out for that. Portable wind turbines that you can put in your backpack and take camping with you. Pretty cool stuff. Hey, in our last story around science tonight, this one tugs at, I think, everybody's heartstrings. Researchers at the Children's Hospital at Westmead have identified a very long name for a biochemical marker that could help detect babies that are at risk for sudden infant death syndrome. And it could do that while they're alive. That would be the benefit. The study analyzed a large number of dried blood spots that are taken at birth in a completely unidentifiable screening process. The research was conducted, and it was led by Dr. Carmel Harrington. He's the honorary research fellow at CHW who lost her own child to SIDS 29 years ago. For the longest time, we've believed there's no cure for this. Nobody knows what causes this. Well, science is catching up, folks. And this is the beauty of genetics, that we can catch up and start to identify some of what's happening here. Now, this is not is not finalized. They're not 100% sure this is what is happening, but this is a good start to identifying what's going on and what we might be able to do to support these children that are at risk and identify this before it becomes a concern. So when they're first born. So kudos to this team as well. More good work on the way. Hey, and we've got more good news stories coming up right after this break. Stay with us. We'll be back in just another moment with a whole bunch more stories on tonight's Good News. Stay with us. We'll be right back. we're back with more of the good news here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm Rev Robert. I want to say thank you for each and every one of you that's part of this network and what we're doing here. This program comes to you every Friday evening, 5 o'clock Mountain Time. It's followed up later this evening at 6 with Pastor Michael and the Fireside Chat. So when we're done here, grab a cup of coffee or a beverage, maybe a little dinner, and come right back for more inspiring programming here on the New Thought Media Network. And you know, folks, we wouldn't be able to make any of this happen if it weren't for all the amazing individuals and organizations that believe in what we're doing and how we're doing it and helping us to do it. Those are our financial sponsors and our committed givers. So we're going to take just another moment here to say thank you to all of those folks before we share our last round of stories. Stay tuned. We've got more good news to come in just a minute.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferlin Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a super special thank you to Dr. Tracy Brown, RSCP. Thanks for being a super donor. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
Yes, thank you to all of our committed donors and organizational sponsors. It is thanks to people like you that we're able to do what we do. If you'd like to get your name or organization on our thank you video, please head on over to the website, make your donation. A monthly contribution will get you on the next round of our thank you video. All right, before we go here tonight, we've got generally what I love to do in the last segment is save some of those heartwarming human interest type stories. The first one, well, maybe it's not human interest, but I'm sure the rats are interested. Here's what's going on. This is being touted as one of the largest conservation success stories of the 21st century. Lord Howe Island in Australia has been working for a number of years to entirely eradicate the invasive rat and mouse population. They've done that in the last 3 to 4 years, and UNESCO listed the island in the East Tasman Sea as one of these biggest success stories. They believe the mice arrived there in the early to mid 1800s. The rats arrived later in 1918, and with invasive species, they just took over 300,000 rats in just over 100 years. But it only took a few years to get rid of all these creatures, and it's revealing a rather diverse landscape. Fruiting trees, different invertebrates. One of Australia's rarest birds is making a comeback. That's the flightless wood hen, in case you're interested. Their population has doubled in the last few years, and what is unfolding is an ecological renaissance, said Hank Bauer from the board at the Lord Howe Island. Since the rodents have gone, the catchphrase is, "I've never seen that before." They've got vines, they've got crickets, they can and all kinds of crazy and wild and amazing stuff that's happening. The Ministry of Environment for Australia said it's, quote, an incredibly optimistic sign for the future of conservation. Now, globally, there have been more than 800 successful eradications of invasive mammals on over 181 different islands since the year 2000. And that does include the eradication of feral goats from the Galapagos Islands, if you remember that story as well. So more good news. Yeah, we do some things as humans we don't intend, like bring rats to islands, but we're also capable of cleaning that up and making the world a better place for all as well. Hey, here's another great story. A Texas woman went missing recently in George Bush Park. She was missing for 3 days. The park's in Houston, in the Houston area. Sherry Nope is 63. She does suffer from a early onset Alzheimer's and dementia, and she got lost. Well, the searchers were out searching for her, but couldn't find her. Around 3 a.m. on the third day, somebody thought they heard something. They got everybody real quiet, turned off all the engines to all the vehicles they were using, and sure enough, they heard a dog barking. They were able to trace that dog bark and follow that dog bark, and it was Sherry's black lab, Max. Isn't he a cute boy there? Max was able to stay with Sherry, help her to stay alive, and then as he was able to hear searchers, he started to bark and let people know, hey, we're over here. Kudos, Max. You get the Good Boy of the Week award for being such a good puppy dog and saving Sherry from what we don't know what fate she may have had. Another Good Samaritan story here. This one I saw earlier the week from Boynton Beach, Florida. A woman was in her car in traffic on home after work and had a medical episode, ended up slumping over her steering wheel, and it just so happened a coworker was in the car next to her. Notice what started to happen, and the car started to move forward. Obviously, Sherry was not in control. There's a video of this story that you can check. Do a quick search on YouTube for that. And her car started to roll into the intersection. Well, Good Samaritans from all around started jumping out to try to stop this vehicle, but it was in drive. So they weren't able to slow it down too much. Eventually, a man came along with a barbell, broke out a window, was able to climb in and open a door. They were able to get in and shut off the vehicle. Sherry was taken to treated by paramedics at the scene and was taken to a local hospital. She is recovering just fine. The car was not damaged, and her coworkers we're very grateful that she's still there, and she'll be going back to work soon. So Good Samaritans all around. The local police department is searching for help to identify those Good Samaritans, be able to connect them with the woman as well. All right, our final story tonight. Here it is. Adopting a healthy lifestyle can add years to your life. I think many of us have known that. But even as late as into your 80s, which means it's never too late to start, folks. If you think you're on the downslope, no, never too late to start. This is according to new research coming out of Japan. Now, here's the keys. Reduce drinking, no smoking, maintaining a healthy weight, and increasing your sleep produces the biggest gains, researchers said. They increased longevity by 6 years in healthy 4-year-olds, but the benefits were even more prominent in those over 80. Those over 80 that had developed these habits over time saw an even greater sense of longevity. Now, the study is published in Age and Aging, and it found that healthy behaviors adopted over time have a marked effect on lifespan. So you want to be around for a while longer, put down the drinks, put down the smokes, get more sleep, drop a little weight. Seems like an easy equation for many of us. And I'm sure there are some of us who are, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. And that's okay too. Folks, we're the New Thought Media Network. This is the Good News, comes to you every Friday night here at 5:30. We're running a couple minutes over, so I'm going to get out of here, let you get into your evening. But again, please remember, Pastor Michael Mangus is with us at 6 for the fireside chat. Always a fun and engaging conversation. We'd love for you to stick around and join us again in just a half an hour. Before I go, though, I want to tell you about 2 more things. Number one, next Tuesday, the great Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith will be our guest on New Thought Today. My co-host Reverend Z and I will be together. We really would appreciate it if you come out and turn out for that program. Going to be a really, really great interview. And then on Wednesday night next week, we've got a world premiere video from our dear friends Floyd Lula, Jamie Lula, and Gary Lynn Floyd will be premiering their brand new, never before seen on the internet video for Keep On Walking. Get your first peek of that right here with us next Wednesday night. All right, I'm Rev Robert. I'm going to get out of here for now. Until next time, I wish you peace and richest blessings.